Good morning to all the students of class 9. Most welcome to all of you in this video lecture. This is Cornesh Misra, subject teacher of social study from Lakshmi Prasad Memorial Public School, Gola Bazar, Gorakhpur. Dear students, today I am going to explain to all of you the rest part of the chapters. What is democracy? That is, what is democracy and why democracy? Last day we have discussed about the features of democracy. Okay, so today again I am going to explain all these to all of you for clearing your concept related to this. Dear students, as we have studied that the major features of the democracy are as follows. We have discussed final authority with the people representatives, free and fair elections, one person, one vote, one value, and rule of the law and respect for the rights. So, dear students, in final authority with the people representatives, which is the features of democracy. In a democracy, the final decision-making power must rest with those elected by the people. Free and fair elections, a democracy must be based on free and fair elections, where those currently in power have a fair chance of losing. One person, one vote, one value. In a democracy, each adult citizens must have one vote, and each vote must have one value. Rule of law and respect for rights. A democratic government rules within the limits set by constitutional law and the citizen rights. Democracy is all about the political competition and power play. There is no scope for morality. Dear students, political parties and candidates use all dirty tricks to win the elections. Many of them use money and muscle power during the elections. Political parties or candidates demand votes on the basis of caste and religion, etc. So we can say that there is no scope for morality in a democracy. It is all about the political competitions and power play. Dear student, democracy is better than other forms of the government because it allows us to correct its own mistakes. There is no guarantee that mistakes cannot be made in a democracy. No form of government can guarantee that. The advantage in a democracy is that such mistakes cannot be hidden for long. So there is a space for public discussions on these mistakes, and there is a room for correction. So either the rulers have to change their decisions or the rulers can be changed. This cannot happen in a non-democratic government. Why democracy is called the government by the discussions? Let's study about it or let you know. Democracy provides all the citizens some basic rights through which they can give their opinion. Democracy provides a chance to all the citizens to choose their representatives and change them if they do not work according to their wish. In parliament, all the members have a right to give their opinions. Democracy provides the citizens a right to follow any religion. Democratic government is a better government because it is more accountable form of government. Dear students, democratic government is an accountable government. It is responsible for its actions, decision and policy, including the administrations. The government is answerable to the parliament, or we can say to the peoples, if the government is not working according to the needs and expectations of the citizens the parliament can move no confidence motions against the government. So more than 3 crore people lost their life in 1958 and 1961's famine in China, but in India whose economic conditions was poorer as compared to China, did not have the famine of the kind China had. So this is the advantage of democracy. Dear students, the existence of democracy in India made the Indian government respond to food security in a way that the Chinese government did not. Dear students, the most common form of democracy is the representative democracy. The most common form of democracy is the representative democracy. Modern democracy involves such a large number of people that it is physically impossible for them to sit together and take a collective decisions. So even if they could, the citizens does not have the times, so the desire or the skills to take a part in all the decisions. Okay. Direct democracy implies to the democracy in which every citizen must be able to play equal role in decision making. Modern democracy involves such a large number of people that it is physically not possible for them to sit together and take a collective decisions. Even the majority does not rule directly but through their elected representatives. Moreover, the citizen does not have the time and the desires or the skills to take part in all the decisions. People should have freedom to express their views in a democracy. They should have a freedoms to form associations and to protest also. Dear students, country is governed by the constitutions of law. Everyone should be equal in the eye of law. People's rights should be respected and it must be protected by an independent judiciary whose orders are obeyed. Orders are obeyed by everyone. There are some drawbacks of democracy. Let's know about it. Dear students, the following are the drawbacks of democracy. What are these? Let you know. Leaders keep changing in democracy. This leads to instability. Democracy is all about political competitions and power play. There is no scope for morality. So many people have to be consulted in democracy, and democracy that it leads to delay. So it leads to delay. Elected leaders do not know the best interest of the peoples. It leads to the bad decisions. Democracy leads to corruptions, for it is based on electoral competitions and power play. Ordinary people don't know what is good for them. Ordinary people do not know what is good for them. They should not decide anything. They should not decide anything. So, but there are also some merits and advantages of democratic governments. Let's know about it also. Dear students, a democratic government is a better government because it is a more accountable form of government. Democracy improves the quality of decision making. Democracy provides a methods to deal with the differences and conflicts. Democracy enhances the dignity of the citizens, and it is better than any other forms of government because it allows us to correct its own mistake. So these are the merits of democracy. You know about it that each coin has two faces. Same with the democracy. There are some demerits and drawbacks of the democracy. Even then there are even then democracy is better than any other forms of government. That is why it is considered as the best form of the government. So what are the various aspects of democracy? Let's know. Dear students, we may refer to three aspects of democracy: political, social and economic. So there are three aspects of democracy: political aspects of democracy, social aspects of democracy and economic aspects of democracy. What is the political aspects of democracy? Dear students, political democracy requires government by consent and political equality. Democracy as a form of government implies that election must be held with a reasonable frequency. Moreover, there should be more than one political party competing for a political power. social aspect of democracy is a democratic society is one in which an atmosphere of equality prevails. There should be no discriminations on the ground of religion, race, caste, or sex. Everyone should have equal access to shops, restaurants, hotels, and places of public entertainment. Our constitution guarantees equality to every person before the law. So this is the social aspect of the democracy, and the economic aspects of democracy, dear students. Political democracies will be a reality only when it is supported by the economic democracy. So the most stable democracies of the world are those which have extensive welfare schemes for the poor people. Is it correct that democratic government cannot do whatever it likes? Yes, dear students, as I have explained to all of you in details in the chapters, that a democratic government cannot do whatever it likes because it has won an elections. So it has to respect some basic rules in a particulars. It has to respect some guarantee to the minorities. Every major decisions has to grow through a series of consultation. Every office bearer has a certain rights and responsibilities assigned by the constitutions and law. Each of these is accountable not only to the peoples but also to the other independent officials. A democratic government rules within limits set by the constitutional law and the citizens' rights. Dear students, the most important features of democracy are rulers elected by the people take all the major decisions. Elections offer a choice and fair opportunities to take the peoples to change the current rulers. These choices and opportunities available to all the peoples on an equal basis. The exercise of this choice leads to a government limited by the basic rules of the constitutions and citizens' right. How far is it correct that no country has a perfect democracy? Dear students, no country has a perfect democracy because every democracy has to try to realize the ideals of democratic decisions making. So this cannot be achieved once and for all. So this requires a constant efforts to save and strengthens democratic forms of decision making. What we do as citizens can make a difference to making our countries more or less democratic. This is the strengths and the weakness of democracy. The fate of a country depends not just on what the rulers do, but mainly on what we as a citizens do. This is what distinguishes democracy from other government. Other forms of government like monarchy and dictatorship or one party rule do not require all citizens to take part in politics. In fact, most non-democratic governments would like citizens not to take a part in politics, but democracy depends on active political participations by all the citizens. That is why study of democracy must focus on democratic politics. Dear students, one person's one vote, one value. There should be one person's one vote, one value in democracy. So democracy is based on fundamental principles of political equality. In a democracy, each adult citizens must have one vote and each vote must have one value. Democracy is linked to the demand for universal adult franchises Yet there is a many instance of denial of equal right to vote. Democracy cannot get us everything and is not the solutions of all the problems. Then why are we interested in democracy? Dear students, it is clearly better than any other alternative forms that we know. It offers a better chance of a good decisions, and it is likely to respect people's own wishes and allows different kinds of peoples to live together. Even when it fails to do some of these things, it allows us to correct its own mistakes and offers more dignity to all the citizens. That is why democracy is considered the best form of the government. The word democracy is derived from the Greek word demos, where from the word democracy is taken. Dear students, the word democracy is derived from the Greek words demos and kratia. So demos means peoples and kratia means powers. So thus democracy means a form of government in which the power to rule lies in the hands of people. Lies in the hands of people. Okay, students. So the word democracy is derived from the Greek word demos and kratia. Demos means people and kratia means power. Thus democracy means a form of government in which the power to rule lies in the hands of the people. What do you understand by the indirect democracy? Dear students, indirect democracy has been established in almost all the modern states because modern states are much larger in size and populations than before. Here, peoples do not directly take part in the affairs of the states, but they elect their representatives for a fixed period. If representatives do not work according to the wishes of the peoples and for their welfare, they are changed at the time of the next elections. No, dear friends, what would have happened if India was not a democracy? Just tell me, what would happen if India was not a democracy? Could we have stayed together as a single nation? No, we would have not stayed together as a single nations if India was not a democracy. Dear friends, India has a multi-religious, multicultural and multilinguistic populations. If there was no democracy, then all the peoples could not have followed their religions and customs with the freedoms, and there would have been conflicts between different religious and linguistic groups where the minorities would have lived in fears and insecurity. But democracy provides the peaceful solutions to every problems. It provides the best methods of dealing with the differences and conflicts. Dear student, democracy is a form of government in a country sit together in a country, form of government in which representatives of an area in a country sit together to take a decisions. Elections are held to choose the representatives, and native peoples or the citizens are allowed to participate in the elections. Democracy is also a principles that can be applied to any sphere of life. Arguments for democracy, dear students. A democratic government is a more accountable form of government. Democracy requires that the rulers have to attend to the need of the people. The rulers have to attend to the need of the people. Democracy is based on negotiations and deliberations, which improves the quality of decision making. It allows us to correct our own mistakes in a a democracy there is always a scope that the rulers can change their wrong decisions or the rulers themselves can be changed. What is the representative democracy? Why is it criticized? Dear students, representative democracy is a form of government which is run by elected representatives representing the majority of the peoples of a country. It is needed because it is impossible for all the peoples of the country to take collective decisions. Also all the citizens may not have a time and skills to take decisions. We live in a democratic country. All over the world, peoples want a democracy. Countries that were not democratic earlier are now becoming democratic. All great peoples have said nice things about democracy. It is obvious that democracy is the best. Still, many arguments are given against it. Some of them are leaders keep changing in a democracy. Keeps changing in democracy. This leads to instability. Democracy is all about political competitions and power play. Politicians fight among themselves. There is no scope for morality. So many leaders have to be consulted in a democracy. This leads to delay. Ordinary people don't know what is good for them. They should not decide anything. Democracy leads to the corruptions for it is based on electoral competition. Democracy has not ended poverty in our country and in other parts of the world. There are some benefits of democracy. Democracy is spreading very fast in the world because people want it and struggle for it. All great people have said nice things about this form of government. Obviously, democracy is the best option among all other political systems available in the world. Those who prefer it give the following arguments. Democracy is better than any other form of government in responding to the needs of the people. An undemocratic government may and can respond to the people's needs, but it all depends on the wishes of the peoples who rule. If the rulers do not want to they don't have to act according to the wishes of the peoples. A democracy requires that the rulers have to attend to the needs of the peoples. Thus, a democratic government is the better government because it is more accountable form of government. Democracy is based on consultations and discussions. A democratic decisions always involves many persons, discussions and meeting. This reduces the chance of rash or irresponsible decisions. Thus, democracy improves the quality of decision making. Democracy enhances the dignity of citizens. We know that the democracy is based on the principle of political equality, on recognizing that the poorest and the least educated has the same status as the rich and the educated. Dear students, how elections in India are different from the Mexico? Both countries have the multi-party system. In case of India, political parties in a power often lose elections, whereas in case of Mexico, PRI did not lose a single elections for more than 70 years. So elections in India are held after 5 years, whereas in case of Mexico, elections are held after 6 years. Government officials work under the elections commissions during the elections days, whereas this is not true for the Mexico. Okay, students, elections in China do not represent people's verdict. We will discuss this in the next video lectures. Thank you for listening me. Have a great day to all of you. Go through all these things. Okay, I have discussed all the topics from the examination points of view and the futures of democracy. I hope Now it is clearly clear to all of you that what are the features of democracy and how we can distinguish democracy from other form of government.